Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to delve into the terrifying story of Corpo-Seco, a legend that has sent shivers down our spines for generations. This video will explore the origin, sightings and mysteries surrounding this macabre creature, described as a withered body, with an ugly face full of scallops. Get ready for a journey into the world of the supernatural, where the line between reality and myth is frighteningly thin. We begin with the terrifying description of the dry body. According to reports, he is a desiccated corpse, with skin stuck to his bones, sunken eyes and an expression of eternal hatred. His skin is full of sores and he exudes a putrid smell that contaminates the air around him. The dry body has the power to dry trees at its touch and to suck the blood of unsuspecting humans who cross its path on deserted roads at night. The legend of Corpo-Seco has several versions, but the best known is that of an extremely violent man who, in life, beat his own mother. After his death, the earth rejected his body, refusing to give him eternal rest. Rejected by heaven and hell, he turned into a haunting. The darkness of night has always been a perfect stage for horror stories, and the stories about Corpo-Seco are no different. Many people claim to have seen this macabre creature, each encounter being more terrifying than the last. Let's start with the case of João, a truck driver who made night deliveries between small towns in the interior. On a moonless night, João was driving along a deserted road when he saw something strange on the side of the road. As he approached, he realized that it was a tall, skeletal figure, with eyes that glowed in the darkness. He stopped the truck, overcome by terror, and saw the dry body approaching slowly, drying the plants around him. Desperate, João sped up and fled, vowing to never pass that road at night again. Another report comes from Maria, a resident of a village near an old cemetery. One night, Maria heard a strange noise coming from the cemetery. Curious, she went to check and saw a cadaverous figure moving around in the tombs. Frightened, Maria ran home and locked all the doors and windows. She told her story to her neighbors the next day, and some of them remembered seeing dry, withered trees around the cemetery in the days that followed. This event reinforced the local belief that Corpo-Seco actually inhabited that place, leading residents to avoid the area after dark. And we also have the case of Paulo, a history student who decided to investigate the legend of Corpo-Seco for an academic project. He spent several nights in cemeteries, interviewing residents, and researching old documents. During one of his visits, Paulo met an elderly man who told him a childhood story. This man said that, when he was a child, he and his friends saw a horrible figure lying in a tomb. The figure got up and started chasing them, but they managed to escape. Paulo was fascinated by this story and decided to spend a night in the cemetery where the meeting took place. During the early hours of the morning, he heard footsteps and felt a cold, evil presence. Paulo saw nothing, but the fear he felt was enough to convince him that the dry body was not just a legend. These reports show us how the legend of Corpo-Seco remains alive in people's memories and daily lives. Each encounter reinforces the belief in the existence of this creature and feeds new stories that continue to be told. But what is really behind these appearances? Could Corpo-Seco be a manifestation of our deepest fears, or is there something supernatural happening? Fear is a universal emotion, and stories like Dry Body touch directly on this sensitive chord in the human psyche. To understand why the legend of Corpo-Seco is so terrifying, we need to explore the psychology of horror. Since time immemorial, human beings have feared the unknown, darkness and death, all elements present in the legend of Corpo-Seco. The dry body, with its cadaverous appearance and supernatural powers, embodies these fears in a visceral way. Psychologists suggest that the fear of dry body may be a reflection of our own internal fears. The idea of a corpse rejected by the earth and condemned to wander forever is frightening because it challenges our notions of rest and peace after death. The violence and divine rejection that transform a man into a monster speak about the extreme consequences of our actions in life. This type of narrative serves as a warning about the dangers of immoral behavior, using fear as a tool to reinforce social norms. Furthermore, the dry body fits perfectly into the archetype of the punitive monster, a common figure in many cultures. This monster not only scares, but also serves as a personification of punishment. The extreme violence of the man who became Drybody and his subsequent rejection by earth and heaven reinforce the idea that misconduct will be severely punished, a message that resonates strongly in societies where morality and correct behavior are central values. Culturally, Corpo-Seco has a significant impact on the communities where its legend is known. He became an emblematic figure in Brazilian folklore, representing both fear of the supernatural and moral lessons about violence and justice. In many regions, the legend of Corpo-Seco is passed down from generation to generation, taught to children as a cautionary tale. These stories not only entertain but also educate, imbuing young minds with the importance of respect and kindness. Corpo-Seco also found its place in popular arts. From literature to theater and music, this figure has been portrayed in various forms. For example, cordel literature, a popular style in northeastern Brazil, often addresses supernatural and folkloric themes. Poems and narratives about the Drybody are common, exploring its origins, its powers, and its victims. In theater, plays that dramatize encounters with the Drybody are used to create an atmosphere of suspense and terror, while also commenting on human nature and morality. In music, especially in genres such as forró and country music, Corpo-Seco appears as a symbol of rural terror. Song lyrics depict frightening encounters with this creature, using metaphors and stories to create a sense of fear and wonder at the supernatural. These artistic portraits help keep the legend alive, adapting it to modern times and ensuring that new generations continue to be fascinated and frightened by this sinister figure. The persistence of the legend of Corpo-Seco in stories, arts, and cultural traditions reveals a lot about human nature. The fear of the unknown and the supernatural is a constant, and figures like Corpo-Seco are a way of giving shape and name to these fears. They remind us of the consequences of evil, not just in a spiritual sense, but also in the impact our actions can have on others. For those who believe in the legend of the Drybody, facing the terror of this creature requires more than just courage. Based on popular stories and traditions, several protective measures and rituals have been developed over the years to ward off or appease this haunting. Let's explore some of these practices, understanding their symbolism and effectiveness. One of the most common measures adopted by communities that fear Corpo-Seco is the performance of specific prayers. These prayers are often recited at night, before going to sleep, as a form of spiritual protection. It is believed that by invoking divine assistance, people can create a protective barrier against evil. Some of these prayers are passed down from generation to generation, becoming an integral part of local folklore. Furthermore, many families keep crucifixes and images of protective saints in their homes, especially in children's rooms, to ward off any evil presence. In addition to prayers, the use of amulets is another popular practice. Amulets made from rock salt, rue, and garlic are commonly used, as these elements are traditionally seen as powerful against evil forces. Coarse salt, for example, is often sprinkled around homes or placed under pillows to ward off unwanted spirits. Rue, a plant known for its spiritual properties, is placed on branches at the entrances of houses. Garlic, in addition to its culinary use, is hung on doors and windows as a form of protection. Purification rituals also play an important role. In some communities, it is common to perform spiritual cleansing ceremonies, especially after a suspicious encounter with the Drybody. These ceremonies may include herbal baths, incense smudging, and group prayers. Smoking is particularly significant, as smoke is seen as a means of purifying the environment and expelling negative energy. These rituals not only have a psychological effect, helping people feel safer, but they also strengthen community bonds by uniting people around a common belief. In extreme cases, where the presence of Corpo-Seco is considered too strong, residents may resort to more drastic measures. Some reports mention the need for exorcisms or consulting priests and shamans to perform specific banishing rituals. These rituals are complex and involve a combination of prayers, chants, and the use of sacred objects. Although rare, these cases show the level of fear and seriousness with which the legend of the dry body is treated in certain regions. It is important to note that these protective measures and rituals have a deep symbolic meaning. They represent the struggle between good and evil, purity and corruption. The use of objects and plants with purifying properties is a way of reinforcing the belief in the ability to overcome evil through faith and community. Furthermore, these practices are a way for people to take control of their fears, offering a sense of security in a world where the supernatural can seem unforgiving. As we explore these protective measures, we must also consider the possibility that some of them are influenced by other cultures and traditions. The exchange of spiritual practices between different regions can enrich and diversify the ways in which people deal with the fear of dry body. This intersection of cultures shows how folklore evolves and adapts, remaining relevant and powerful. To conclude our journey through the legend of Corpo-Seco, it is essential to reflect on what this story teaches us and how it continues to influence the culture and psychology of the communities that preserve it. The legend of Corpo-Seco is not just a horror story, it is a mirror that reflects our deepest fears and moral concerns. Firstly, the legend serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of violent and immoral behavior. The transformation of a cruel man into an earth-rejected haunt is a clear metaphor for divine justice and retribution. This moral aspect of the legend is particularly significant in communities where respect for parents and family harmony are fundamental values. The story of Corpo-Seco teaches that cruel and disrespectful actions can lead to terrible punishments, not only in the afterlife, but also in the collective memory of the community. Furthermore, the legend of Corpo-Seco tells us about the fragility of life and the inevitability of death. The figure of the desiccated, walking corpse reminds everyone that, regardless of our actions in life, we are all subject to the forces of mortality and oblivion. The earth's rejection of man's body is a disturbing image that challenges our expectations of eternal rest. This leads us to ponder the nature of death and what it truly means to find peace after we are gone. Culturally, Corpo-Seco has a significant role in preserving folklore and regional identity. Stories like this are told and retold, passed down from generation to generation, not only as entertainment, but also as a way of keeping cultural heritage alive. Narratives about Corpo-Seco help solidify community identity by offering a common point of reference that unites people through a shared experience of fear and fascination. Through stories, music, theater and art, Corpo-Seco continues to be a living presence in the popular imagination. However, the legend of Corpo-Seco also challenges us to question the line between myth and reality. With so many reports and sightings, it's natural to wonder if there is any truth behind these stories. Although we do not have concrete proof of the existence of Corpo-Seco, the psychological and cultural impact is undeniable. Stories of terrifying encounters and protective measures adopted by communities reveal the enduring power of myth. These narratives, whether real or imagined, have a tangible effect on how people perceive and interact with the world around them. Finally, the legend of Corpo-Seco reminds us of the importance of knowledge and education as tools against fear. By exploring and understanding these stories, we can demystify some of the fears they provoke, while also appreciating the cultural and symbolic value they hold. The study of folklore and legends is a way to preserve ancestral wisdom, understand our own anxieties, and celebrate the richness of our cultural heritage. We invite you all to continue this exploration with us. There are many other legends and horror stories around the world waiting to be discovered. We have reached the end of this journey through the fascinating world of the legend of Corpo-Seco. If you enjoyed exploring these horror stories with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. Leave in the comments which legend you would like us to explore next and share your own experiences with the supernatural. Stay curious and explore the mysteries of the world around us. See you soon, and may the search for knowledge always guide us forward.